The first type of shirt that we're going to look at to help you make more sense of the shirt section at a thrift store is performance button downs. But first, let me give you an example that perfectly illustrates why this is going to be such powerful knowledge for you. And then we'll talk about some more specific detail on how you can identify and pick up performance shirts without having to memorize a list of brands. So I've done a search here for a Southern Tide button shirt minus polo. If that looks like a weird search for you, you might want to check out my how-to video on eBay search modifiers. It helps you hone in on the specific items you want to look for. I'm showing up. So we have 1,900 listed for Southern Tide button shirt. By the way, if you're not familiar with Southern Tide, it's about on par with something like Vineyard Vines. Same type of buying audience, same type of feel, I would say. So for Buy It Now pre-owned Southern Tide shirts, we have 1,900 listed. I have another tab with the solds for that same search, and we only have 460 sold. I believe that's probably under a 30% quarterly sell-through rate. We have just about 150-ish a month selling, and we had 1,900 plus listed. So very slow seller, Southern Tide button front shirts. However, within that same brand, they have a performance shirt called the Intercoastal. So here I'd search Southern Tide Intercoastal shirt. Same types of parameters. Buy it now, pre-owned. There's only 30 listed, so this is a lot less common in general than Southern Tide shirts. So let's check out the solds. 85 sold Southern Tide Intercoastal shirts. That's almost 3 times the amount active. So these sell essentially as fast as you can list them. The demand is outpacing supply. So picture this. You go into a thrift store, you start at the men's shirt rack, 3 or 4 shirts in, there's a Southern Tide button down shirt. And you're like, ooh, this looks like a nice shirt. This seems like good quality. I'm not familiar with the brand. You look it up, similar to the search I did before, and it's like, whoa, very bad sell-through, pass. And then 30 or 40 shirts down the line, you come across a Southern Tide Intercoastal shirt. And you're like, oh yeah, I just looked this brand up. It's crap, pass. Okay, wait, stop. This is why we need to know those specific items. And when you're going down the rack of shirts like that, you're going to feel the difference in these performance shirts. So let's look at some of the keywords. Performance, obviously. A lot of them will brag about stretch, or 4-way stretch is something you see quite a bit. Nylon. This is our key right here to tip us off that we might have a good shirt to flip. Almost all of these performance shirts will have some kind of nylon content. It's usually nylon and some kind of stretch fabric. Nylon elastane, nylon spandex, something like that. That's what gives it the stretch. And then the nylon gives it quick dry, moisture wicking properties. Some of them will also add like UPF because this is considered like an outdoor, out on the water, coastal kind of shirt to wear. So that's the key thing to remember. Look for nylon content, and the first time you find one of these, you'll be able to tell the feel where you could almost have your eyes closed and pick out performance shirts from a rack of shirts. It's going to feel completely different than your standard cotton shirts. It's more sort of smooth and slinky, borderline silk, dry fit type of material. It just feels a lot different than a standard cotton shirt. Now, let me show you something that how strong the demand is on these. I recently sold 5 of these intercoastal shirts, picked them all up at one thrift store for $2 a piece, and it was a great day. But a couple of them had flaws like this. So this shirt has these dark marks. It looks like something splattered on the shirt. So pretty bad flaw, but it's on the back of the sleeve. Someone still bought this. I just priced it for about $5 less than I was selling the other ones for. And that shows you how strong the demand is for performance shirts. Even with flaws, people still want them for the feel and the utility. And as long as it's not a real bad conspicuous flaw, like all down the front of the shirt or giant holes and things like that, For inconspicuous flaws, you can absolutely still sell these. Now let me show you another one and give you some other brands to look for. Mizzen and Main used to be a big bolo. I will say it's cooled off a little bit, but the great thing about it is you can almost always get over $30 for these. And as far as I know, every shirt Mizzen and Main makes has these performance qualities. This is one that does not use nylon or does not always use nylon though. We have 1,000 plus sold. I believe there was a little more listed than sold, so not quite 100% sell-through rate. But again, if you can get these for a good price, say maybe $5 or $6 and under, a lot of times you can get over 30 for them, and it's still a very quick seller. But maybe a little depressed compared to what I usually like. So lots of brands make performance shirts. I'm going to give you just a few. Johnny O makes one. Johnny O is a kind of prep surf brand, maybe a little more prominent on the West Coast. They have a performance shirt called Prep Performance. Those have 100% sell through. Vineyard Vines is another one. Rather than having a specific model of performance shirts, they will have both 100% cotton and performance versions of their different fits. They have the Tucker shirt, the Murray shirt, the Whale shirt. I think there's at least one more I'm forgetting. Could be more. But it's not like all Murray shirts are performance shirts or all Tucker shirts are performance shirts. Just some of them are and some of them aren't. So you want to look for that nylon content to know whether you should pick it up. If you just comp Vineyard Vines Murray shirt, it's going to look like bad sell-through, similar to Southern Tide. But if you've comp Vineyard Vines performance shirt, the sell-through is there, 100% in fact. And then one other one to look for, Polo Ralph Lauren makes performance shirts. So if that is a brand that you habitually pass on because it's flooded and sell-through is low, stop when you see that little performance label underneath the brand label and verify that there's nylon content. Those shirts have 100% sell-through as well. All right, so there's 5 right there you can look out for. This video is not meant to give you a big giant list of brands and items to look for. It's really, I'm trying to help hone and train your reseller gut and light up your radar when you see that nylon content in a shirt. And that's going to prompt you to pull your phone out and comp it and see if you need to pick that up or not. So the big takeaway here is performance shirts, nylon blends. You want to look those up. And they're very strong sellers, elevated prices. It's a great shirt to know.